Welcome to Utah Stories. So today on the podcast, we have a very awesome guest. We've just recorded it. It is Rachel Coleman from the Park City Culinary Institute. She's the dean of students there. She's pretty new to the position, and we got into talking about French cuisine, bread, some of the incredible things you can make and learn to make when you attend some of the classes at Park City Culinary Institute. It was a long-ranging, fun conversation with Rachel. She obviously has an incredible passion for food, like I do. So without further ado, my podcast with Rachel Coleman.
So this summer, just last summer, I was in Napa. I drove past CIA, Culinary Institute of America, and we have a Sprinter van, and I was camping. I called my husband and said, how would you feel if I go to culinary school in Napa, or the other location is Hudson Valley, New York? He's like, do it. I have the best husband. So he was like,
cool.
Do it, right? And I'm thinking, this is amazing. And next door are the different shops and the different restaurants and the farmer's market. And you just get like, if I lived here and I could cook here, there's just produce that you've never seen. And it's so expensive, but it would be so amazing to use.
And just so listeners know, Culinary Institute of America is like one of the very top culinary schools in all America.
Yes.
I heard about it when I was a teenager working at gastronomy.
Yes.
And it is the place to go if you want to be an incredible high-end chef.
Yeah. Well, and actually we've lost a number of culinary institutes across the country during COVID. So a number of them are gone. But CIA, so you'll hear people in the cooking world refer to CIA. I went to CIA and you're like, whoa, how Mission Impossible. No, it's not. It's just the Culinary Institute of America. I looked into it. I mean, it's tens of thousands of dollars and you'd have to move. I'm like, I could camp. I could camp and do this. And then I came home and thought, I'm going to look around. And one of my girlfriends said, check out Park City Culinary Institute. So I did. I took a tour. I came through. I was like, wow, I can do a course. I can do their pro certificate in 11 weeks. And I thought, I'm not busy in November. And I'm not busy, in December, January. So I actually signed up and I took the whole course. And that was it was just like, I love cooking. And every time I've found something I love, like tom kha gai soup, Thai coconut soup, I think, okay, I want to get this to the point where it's something my family loves and it's the taste that I'm looking for instead of going to a restaurant. When I was 22, I was like, I want to know cheesecake. And I just started baking them. And I just started a cheesecake of the month club for like my mom and all her girlfriends who were in Cottonwood Heights, And so I've just always had a passion. And then just kind of got to the point where I was like, I should learn this now. I cook every day. Why not get the really deep skills? And during COVID, I took a lot of online classes through different, there were so many classes. I took Indian classes and I took pasta classes. But I thought, what if I just really sat down and did it all at once? So I did. And definitely have the confidence. I used to be intimidated by anything more than a 2-page recipe, right?
So was your original thought when you went past the Culinary Institute of America, I want to be a chef? I would like to work in a kitchen?
I mean, I've never. So I worked at a pizza place locally when I was 15. That's my professional kitchen experience. I just wanted the skills. I'm cooking for a family every single day. What if I could just do amazing things? And I do. Like my mother-in-law just had her birthday and I said, want to come over and I'll make beef Wellington? And I did. I cranked out these beautiful puff pastry covered filet mignons with the mushroom. I mean, like, wow, really? I know, right? And that's nothing I would have tried.
Not a lot of people can do that.
No, and during COVID, I watched a master class on it. I still didn't have the confidence to attempt it. When you are in a course, you're seeing it demoed by a chef. They're walking you through the steps. And you have the opportunity to do it, and then you have the freedom to incorporate that into your own life and your own menus that you're cooking. So
in 11 weeks, were you able to gain a real substantial skill set, or did it just kind of start you off on the right foot?
Oh, no. I mean, there were certain things I thought, I'm only going to order like a filet at a restaurant because I don't want to spend the money and ruin it. I don't trust myself, right? Yeah. Or a double thick pork chop. We grew up when you had to cook pork to death to kill any parasites. And guess what? I found out in culinary school that's no longer the case. They've addressed it. It's not in there anymore. So you can you don't have to cook it so it's dry. And, so I didn't even know that. the confidence that I have with anything. I used to just like stock my kitchen. I'm going to need carrots. I'm going to need celery. I probably need potatoes, rice, without a real plan, but get the basics. Now I can go into the grocery store without a plan, but it's different. It's like, oh, there's baby bok choy. Wait a minute. I'm going to do, a flank steak, and I know how to slice it really thin and make Mongolian beef, a pineapple fried rice. It's a totally different experience. My husband says, you were great before. You were a great cook, home cook before. He's like, but what we're eating now is restaurant quality every night.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I didn't know what would happen, and it's not, and like I said, I don't know that I want to work in a kitchen, but, the skills that I've gained are really extraordinary.
And so you basically took the class and then they asked you, hey, do you want to be our dean?
Yeah.
It's like, how did that happen?
So I've run national nonprofits. I've been an entrepreneur myself, run my own businesses. I've, done a lot of different crowdfunding. Like I've run successful businesses, and I kind of was at a point just to go, okay, like I grew up in Utah. I got married at 21, had my first kid at 22. And so now that I'm like an empty nester, what am I going to do? What do I want? Like, can I still learn was one of my questions. Can I still learn? Can I get up and be somewhere every day from 9 to 1? My kids are out of school. I don't have to get up so early, And so that was a part of it. It was just like, all right, I want some structure. I want to learn something. This sounds fun, and it's available and I did the course, and I gave some feedback from a professional level, and they said, we love what you're saying, we love what you see, and we'd love you to come on board. And I said, absolutely.
That's so cool.
Yeah. It's weird. It's like,
so were they
the third
just
time that's happened to me. Like,
were they looking for somebody just right at that time?
They had been looking. They were looking for the right fit, and I think the detail that I see and the passion that I bring, they were just like, this is the right fit. And so I said, let's do it. And the team is amazing. Our students are fabulous. We have morning courses, Monday through Friday from 9 to 1, and evening courses that are Monday through Wednesday from 6 to 10. And so it can, if you've got kids in school, there's an opportunity, that you can do that as well. And we have everybody. The oldest graduate we've had is 80 years old.
Wow.
So you may think, oh, it's only 4, but it's not. It's for anyone who cooks, which is pretty much everyone,
Yeah, I mentioned when we were not on air, I got obsessed with bread in my early 20s.
People get obsessed.
Because when you try French bread from a French bakery in France for the first time, it's almost like a religious experience. You realize you've been missing out your entire life. And the first time I went to France, I had my bike. I was going around these little villages, and every bakery was so incredible. And then I learned these people went to school for 4 or 5 years to learn to be bakers.
Yeah.
And I thought you thaw out the dough and you put it in the oven.
Out of your freezer, the rolls. I love it.
But there's this art and science behind just bread that they follow in France. It's just this tradition that goes back centuries. And I mentioned I got a job when I was 25 in a bakery in Luxembourg.
I love it.
It was just like my dream to be working in an old bakery in a coal-fired oven, and the guy had everything there. It's like a 300-year-old coal-fired oven, and I got to see it. Even this guy was so cranky and crabby. Every single day would scream at me, "Sortez de charbon."
Really?
Yeah,
really?
sortez de bread. Go get fêcher de charbon. And I was just like, this is so cool.
Right?
And waking up at 3:00 every morning. But I think it's like we just don't have those traditions in America, and I think we're beginning to gain a respect for bread and fine food.
Yeah.
But it just seems like it's this slow transition where people respect their food enough to not buy majority processed food, which just makes you sick.
Yep.
Because you look at Europeans and you see how much healthier they are.
Yeah, that awareness is happening, I think,
Yeah.
again. And I was speaking to a French pastry chef just yesterday, and he said, I feel like I'm a dinosaur. Like my skills skills. That's not what people want. They want their cupcakes. They want their cookies. They want brownies. He's like, I love brownies. Like, don't get me
it's like
wrong.
a quick fix of sugar and fat.
But I've been to France twice, and the patisseries where you walk by and you see all these beautiful little tarts, and you're like, okay, I got to have that. Like, I want a strawberry one. I want a lemon one. And they're just, they're decadent. They're perfect, and there is a level of attention to detail that I don't know. Maybe we've lost for a bit as a society, like the willingness to crank out, petals for a design for a cake. It's like, well, I want to learn how to do this. Well, if you're going to have to do hundreds of them for the cake. Mm-hmm. So you might be like, I'm going to learn, but are you willing to do 200 of them exactly the same, maybe even measured to the gram to make sure that it comes out the way that it's really supposed. So exactly. I loved that he said that, because I got it. He's like, I just feel like what I have, I'm a dinosaur. But I was like, but that's something. So at Park City Culinary Institute, the owner, Laurie, she went to Cordon Bleu in Paris. That's where she went to culinary school.
Oh, no kidding.
And so she came back and visited other culinary schools here across the United States and was like, wait, nothing offers that experience. Right? They're doing English scones, or they're doing, different things. She's like, but nobody's bringing that level, that attention to detail. And she's like, I can bring that. She had the experience like you did. You can hardly explain that to anybody and have them grasp it. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can like get the glimpse of it. Like, please, I would love a French chef to yell at me. Right? That's like, oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. But what you get in exchange are those skills.
Yeah.
And that experience.
And you get a sense of the tradition and the
history,
hundreds of years
culture.
that came before that to create this product.
Yes.
That's so simple, like just a baguette.
Right. Bread, water.
To create a really good baguette, it's not something simple or easy. But the ingredients are. Yeah. It is just it's yeast, bread, and water.
Put it together and what you do in the heat. So when we were doing breads, we were doing baguettes. Mm-hmm. And chef said, so we're going to heat up this pan of rocks and chains. And I did a double take. Again, the things I learned in culinary school. I said, I'm sorry, did you say rocks and chains? And literally they have a pan of rocks and chains. And he puts them in the bottom, heats the oven so hot. We all lined up the baguettes that we had made, and he puts them all in, right? These double convection ovens, hot, hot, hot. And as he's kind of closing the double doors, he has this huge pitcher of water, pours it onto the rocks and chains, which just creates this massive steam, shuts the doors. And then that's how you get the knock, 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 knock on your bread.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
On the crust.
Yeah.
And so sure enough, we bring them all. I mean, I was like, never have I ever heard anyone say they're going to cook something with rocks and chains.
That's crazy.
I actually filmed it. I was like, I got to film this. This is crazy. And the steam that it kicks off. But that's people put, there's a huge trend right now of sourdough, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody's cooking their sourdough. Everyone's got their starter. I've got mine in my fridge right now. I'm like, oh, you need a rest, but it's this commitment. You're feeding your starter. You're dumping the discard. And my girlfriend in California, she actually kind of helped me get along with this too. I went to visit her, and she sent me home with a loaf. She's like, I just send everybody home with a loaf, and my kids' teachers. I'm like, okay, I want to do that. But she uses a Dutch oven, and she'll put ice cubes in it to create the steam. And I'm making bread. You don't think I'm going to be throwing ice cubes in there,
and she does like a real great sourdough in a Dutch oven.
It's fabulous.
Wow.
And I actually was visiting her. I was flying in, and she said, hey, when I pick you up, do you want to come to my house for dinner, or do you want to go out? And I've traveled a lot. In my previous jobs, I've traveled a lot, and typically I land, I will search for the top restaurant, and then I ask, what's the best thing on the menu? Because if I'm going to get one meal here in this town, I want a really great one. And that's like, I love food. I don't know that I love cooking. I love eating.
Yeah, that's
right?
kind of where I'm at now.
That's the side of it. But I was like, but I can increase my cooking skills and then enjoy eating what I cook even more. Mm-hmm. So anyway, she says, you want to come over for dinner? Should I make you something? Or do you want to go to a restaurant? And I said, well, are you a good cook? Because I get invited, I'll go to town and people are like, oh, I bet you want a home-cooked meal. Most home-cooked meals aren't that good. I mean, sorry.
Yeah.
Right? When I cook, I'm like, this is something we could serve to company. That's how it was in the past. I'd be like, this one's a good one. Let's keep in mind that I can serve this to company. Now, what do you want? Because I can make it. It's so
That's
different.
great.
But she laughed. She said, Rachel, I went to culinary school. And she's an audiologist. Like, I know her through other businesses. And I was like, you went to culinary school? Like, she's like, yeah, I did that first before I had, like I said, before I had kids, before I got married. It hadn't crossed my mind to do that early on in my life. Like I said, I got married at 21, had my first kid at 22. But then I kind of, like I said, as an empty nester, stopped and went, well, this is my time. This is my time. What do I want to learn?
Well, you have to chase that passion. I mean, because that's what sustains you, I think. And a lot of people, I think, in their 20s, if they feel like they're pushed into a degree and like they take that easy, safe, accounting degree, business degree, computer science, whatever, so they can get that job, they're not in touch with the spark that really ignites their passion for what it is they truly want to do. Yeah. And obviously that's a luxury. If you have kids at an early age, you just kind of got to make your living.
Right. You're surviving for many, many years.
So I think it's a great thing. Later on in life, your kids are moving out. You're an empty nester. Yeah. You can reignite that flame and figure out what it is.
Yeah. And it's pretty cool. It actually is. I'm really at my graduation. I was like, oh, I'm like really proud of myself. I did this and had to manage the other things that I manage in my life. But I think about when I was a teen and, they would give us the test to see what you're good at, what you should go into. And I don't know how well those actually work, but I don't know that anyone sat down and just said, there's so many options. What sounds fun? Yeah. Or we look at how much money you're going to make at the end of this degree, potentially. There's a lot of, state and federal services that look at that like, we'll help support you, but we want to make sure that this is a good investment so that you can survive when you get through. But I don't know that I ever stopped to be like, what do I really want to do? I was really surviving and what was available or that kind of a thing. And you're going to cook. You are going to cook every single day of your life. This is not a bad thing to learn. And then you might find your passion is bread. Your passion is cuisine. So we have cuisine courses. We have baking and pastry. But then, for everybody, if you're like this, I'm not going to sign up for 5 or 8 weeks. Every weekend we have recreation classes. And so tomorrow we're teaching paella.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Cool. So if you want to just come in and, with a friend or yourself, I've done a ton of these just by myself. I just walk in. Hi, I'm here to learn, handmade pastas. But it's really fun to come in. So truly tomorrow we have paella. Saturday morning we're doing macarons, the cute little nice. Gluten-free too. I think that's part of why macarons have taken off is they're gluten-free and delicious.
A lot of coconut, right?
No, that's a macaroon.
Oh, macaron.
So that's like a haystack is a macaroon. Macaroon. Macaron are the little cookies that are double. They're like top and bottom with a cream in the middle. They're pink, they're green, they're everywhere. Pink and green and blue. Yes, and you're I know, right?
Now I know what you mean. Yeah.
All over the place. People are fascinated with these and they are delicious. So Saturday morning is a macaron class. Wow. We've got a sushi class coming up. We have handmade pasta where we make 3 pastas. We make gnocchi out of potato. We make fettuccine, use the machines. And prior to that, my neighborhood circle, we had a pasta machine that was like our community co-op. we shared a pasta machine. So anybody need it? But I was really nervous about it. And like I said, that's just gone. I'm like, everyone come over and I'm going to crank out fettuccine with fresh Alfredo, or let's make a pesto. Let's make gnocchi.
Wow. It's good to be your neighbor.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty good to be my neighbor. But it could be good to be your neighbor too, Richard.
Well, my wife, I wish she was doing this podcast too, because she's an amazing cook. Yeah. And she's learned to cook really amazing stews. Like she just throws everything in a pot. Yeah. And it turns out incredible.
So good.
And she's from Bosnia and then spent 5 years in Germany but loves to read cooking books. So,
Yeah.
and she's a experimental physicist, so I guess
Oh
that
my
part of
gosh.
it's not.
I do want to meet her. Can I meet
Yeah,
her?
she's in the back. Yeah.
I did meet her.
Yeah.
Oh, that is amazing. Yeah.
But-
So, I mean, the rec classes that we offer, that's for any, you want to do something fun this weekend with friends. We also do corporate events, team building. So it could be a hands-on pasta class. We could actually have competitions. So, cooking competitions we can set up. We do private chefing as well. And that's not our students. Those are our chefs that are on staff. We have a lot
Very
to
cool.
offer. Yeah, and it's really fun. And while it is Park City Culinary Institute, our campus is on State Street in Salt Lake City. So you don't have to worry about trudging through the snow or making sure that you have all-wheel or four-wheel drive
Well, very
to
cool.
get to us. Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for coming on, Rachel.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, sounds like you got the background to really help the institute take off and do well. And yeah, thanks for coming in.
For sure. And anyone who's interested, I'm happy to meet you and give you a tour
Great.
and show you our facilities.
Cool.
Okay.
And thank you so much for watching, everybody. If you are interested in being a bigger part of Utah Stories, go out to our website, utahstories.com, subscribe to our free digital newsletter. Where do they learn more about Park City Culinary Institute?
So online, parkcityculinaryinstitute.com. You can just search it, or you can swing by. We're 1484 South State Street in Salt Lake City, 9 to 5. If you want to pop in and see some of our classes or take a tour.
Cool.
All right.
All right. Okay, thanks, everybody. See you next time. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today. Again, Utah Stories is brought to you by Utah Stories Magazine. This magazine can be delivered right to your door for $3 a month. Why should you subscribe? Because it is your connection to the real, tangible world in Salt Lake City and Utah. It's a way to get you outside of your house, outside of being in front of the screen, and get you connected with the real world. This is the best of local Utah, and it is the voice of local Utah. So if you enjoy this podcast, consider subscribing, or subscribe to our absolutely free digital newsletter, which we deliver once a week, all by visiting utahstories.com. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.